And welcome back, everybody, to the 54th edition of the Voiceless podcast. For you New England Patriot fans out there, it's the Teddy Bruschi episode, if I remember my numbers correctly, which means Brad's going to go take a run at one of the WWE superstars, Bruschi style, concussion and all. And you're all going to be there to witness it. It's going to be fantastic. They're going to hit up the Northeast very soon. So if you see a run-in by a man in plaid shorts out onto the ring, you'll know exactly who it is.
I don't think I own any plaid shorts, but I don't think security could get to me in time if I did. I mean, they continually fail at that. So
their security's worse than see too soon. I can't go there. I just can't. I can't do it. Airports. All right, it's not too soon for that. Airports. Because fuck, I tried to make that PG as much as I could, but when an NFL player a few years ago yells "bomb" at an airport and everyone runs for their lives for no reason, makes me. I don't have faith in that. I don't. And you know what? TSA.
Bomb. You can't say bomb. You can't say bomb.
No, you can't. But
bomb.
And I don't want to hear the horse shit that profiling isn't real. It's fucking real. But anyway,
I guess I will take this opportunity to tell you a story.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I do find myself frequently, searched by the TSA folks. Go figure. Anyway, so they had searched my my suitcase, my luggage, while it was in transit. And I believe this was, if I'm telling the story right, this is when I was on my honeymoon. Mm-hmm. So I noticed when we got our luggage, got to the hotel, that there was a notification in there that they had searched my luggage in a random check. They had opened up my suitcase and gone through everything. Mm-hmm. And so that pissed me off because I'm frequently searched by these people and whatever. It's just totally ridiculous. And so, I'd had enough at that point. And so I wouldn't recommend this, but I wrote them a note. And I told them that they were the bomb.
Gotcha.
And put it back in my suitcase, and if they would have searched it, they would have seen it, and they didn't, luckily, because I probably would have been detained. But I was rather annoyed. It's like, if they're going to pat someone down, if they're going to, case or whatever it is, it's like it's very likely to happen to me.
Yeah, well. You do look suspicious. You bear a resemblance to one Baron. Yeah. You're the Baron Corbin of the airport world who always gets checked because his hands are lethal weapons.
That could be it. Maybe they're intimidated by my presence.
Oh, well. Tonight's also an injured edition of the VOTV podcast. My bowling leagues tonight. I haven't bowled in 2 years, and I'm gonna keep up with this, guys. It's the John Fisher bowling update. So last week I bowled terribly. I haven't bowled in 2 years, so now I'm finally starting to get it. Got my own ball, got my own shoes. I was ready to go, and what do you know? First practice throw, first frame of the imaginary practice. Right, I'm practicing. It's all about practice. Allen Iverson said it best, and I'm a righty, so I plant. For those of you who know what bowling is, I plant my left foot to throw the ball. I feel a tug right below my left ass cheek and my sciatic nerve. I nearly fall to the ground in pain. And I had several beers beforehand, so I think a little bit was numbed at that point. Fucking scream. I bowl a 112, and I don't know if you bowl, Brad. I bowled a 112 first game. I could not plant my left leg. I bowled on one leg, all right? So the second game out of 3, I said, fuck the pain. I don't care. So I bowled normally, and it hurt so bad I bowled a 178, all right, which is good. For a straight bowler, good, all right. Third game, since I ignored it the second game, motherfucker, bowled a 92. I bowled on 0 legs because the other leg was so sore from carrying the left leg's weight, kind of like most of the wrestlers facing John Cena on a nightly basis. And what do you know? I can't really sit without pain, so I'm going to be like tweaking around here, like adjusting myself a lot. Yeah, my dick's big, but like I can't really sit without pain. So just so if you're any ancillary noises, all true, by the way, all true. That whole thing is true. Just so you guys know. But I
was hoping you would continue your inspirational bowling stories for us. This really is inspiring stuff.
Yes. Well, next week, and I named my ball, which is red, white, and blue. I named it Bliss after Alexa Bliss, who we'll talk about tonight. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna start wearing wrestling shirts at bowling every Thursday. Tonight was Nakamura's turn. Next week, I think, is Finn Balor. So
who's Nakamura?
That one wrestler in NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh yeah, he does the GTS.
Yeah. Oh, people are gonna be pretty pissed. All right, so speaking of people getting pretty mad at you because, well, it really wasn't you. No, it was Big Mark, and he picked John Laurinaitis as our tweet of the week, which is what? He's getting ready for Total Bellas. Big Johnny Ace has the hot mom of the Bellas. He's going to be hanging out with Nikki and Brie all the time.
Hard night. It's all right. Hit the music.
I already did. You're way late on this one.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this was essentially the Brooklyn Brawler who was released from WWE, and he asked Dixie Carter on Twitter to follow him back. And John Laurinaitis, who apparently I would assume follows the Brooklyn Brawler as well.
There you go. You're getting there.
Hooked on Phonics works for me. So he says, "What are you doing? Why are you begging for a follow back? You are better than that. Hashtag people power. Hope you are well." So then a fan says, "Hey, I think his TNA run would be great." And Big Johnny responded to them saying, "You think? Not a chance."
That hurts. Hey,
D-bag.
I'm gonna watch Total Bellas, man. I'm excited. I'm real excited. I can't wait to see Johnny Ace and the girls hang out. He is the stepdad of Daniel Bryan. Talk about power trio in all of wrestling, right? John Laurinaitis, Brie Bella, and Daniel Bryan. One's retired, the other one still wants to wrestle and is ignorant, and Johnny Ace can lace up his tuxedo whenever he wants.
Yeah. He was a terrible wrestler.
Who cares? People power! You know? Nothing better. Nothing.
Oh, what you gotta do is you gotta hire the women with the biggest tits, and the guys gotta be at least 6'2", 240.
That's that. Hey, great Kevin Dunn impression.
That's the Johnny Ace hiring plan. That's what you have.
I was gonna say Mark Carano or Kevin Dunn because they both suck big balls, but either way, either way. So last week, Dean was running away to find himself, kind of like Shawn Michaels in his smile. Dean came back, and he found something. Brad, he found the will to live. He did. This run-in is 2 parts, brother.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy is right. Or rather, oh, brother. So, here's Dean I Am Petro with the first of 2 run-ins.
Well, you know, Brad Shepard, when you're talking about the power of Hulkamania, you're talking about a force that can't be challenged, brother. And when you're talking about Hulkamania, and you're talking about Vince McMahon wanting to bring Hulk Hogan back to the WWE, brother, you're talking about something that can't be stopped. You're talking about Hulk Hogan, who could be WWE champion over and 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 over again, brother. And then have his rematch with Shawn Michaels and bring out of retirement, brother. It's true. You're one of the big Hulkamaniacs. You say your prayers prayers. You take your vitamins, brother. And then you believe in the power of Hulkamania because you know where the power lies, brother. But you're going a step too far, brother, when you're calling out Dean Iapetro, brother, for not being a Hulkamaniac. We know that Brother Dean has some issues. We know that he sees the dark side. We know, brother, that he's always been a Macho Man Randy Savage fan. And we know, brother, that he doesn't have what it takes to be a Hulkamaniac like you. But, brother, let me tell you something. You go and you accuse him of not being a Hulkamaniac. That's okay, brother, because Hulkamania will rule forever. And, Brad, you know that you'll be by my side until my ego runs wild. And then you have to turn on me, brother. And then I'm going to have to vanquish you with the leg drop of doom, brother. And then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, brother. And I'm going to be WWE champion again, brother. And then, brother, I'm going to take over your podcast, brother. Brother.
Oh boy!
what a huge return to the game.
A big return. I only wish I could have seen the video of that as he did it.
It's only audio. Don't get your hopes up. But how about that, huh? How about that? So, with all that said, I'll let Brad take a breather because I think he needs it after that. Dean's still running in, guys. He had to take a quick snack break. He's back already. So lend him your ears, brother.
Okay, now that we have all of the red and yellow Kool-Aid drinking brother thing out of the way, you're going to accuse me of being a closet Hulkamaniac? Oh, please. Man, I wanted to see that dude lose every time. He made me like Shawn Michaels. I didn't like Shawn Michaels until Shawn Michaels screwed him over by overselling at SummerSlam. And that was the best thing ever. And I've been a Shawn Michaels fan ever since. Brad, you disappoint me. So, moving on to things that are disappointing, let's talk about Monday Night Raw, shall we? Their ratings are dropping. Now, they go up against Monday Night Football, and I get it. You know what? Next Monday, they're going to have a hell of a time anyway. They're going up against the presidential debate, which will be watched maybe even more than Monday Night Football. Who knows? So they can write off a Monday after Clash of the Champions. I mean, they're not going to have any kind of a number. So they're losing to SmackDown, but SmackDown is an overall better product. First thing WWE has to do, sorry, USA, you got to bite the bullet on the revenue. You got to go back to 2 hours. It has to be a 2-hour show. 3 hours is just too long to try to keep the focus, to try to keep the attention. It's just not working. The cruiserweights are kind of, I mean, as great as the Cruiserweight Classic was, as an every Monday night thing, I don't know if it's just going to get the reaction you want unless you have bigger stars. And as much as I joke about Neville with Shawn, Neville could be a cruiserweight. Sami Zayn could be a good cruiserweight, and you can add some name and star power to this. I mean, they have to talk. You have to care about the stories that they're going to tell. I like Kevin Owens as Universal Champion, but they're just not going anywhere with it. I like Seth Rollins as a face, but something seems to fall flat. I think it falls back to the dynamic that they've fallen back to since Austin and McMahon, and that's the general manager, the authority power thing, whatever you want to call it, the authority figure. And I mean, it's time to eliminate it. Like, how often did we used to see Gorilla Monsoon? How did we when he was president, or Jack Tunney? It was a rare moment to make an announcement, or for a big contract signing, or something like that. What we're getting, like, what was the greatest thing about the Raw on the new era when it first started, the one in Pittsburgh? There were two great things. Well, one was the unpredictability, having Sasha leave as the women's champion and having Finn Balor go clean over Roman Reigns. Those were the two surprising elements and were some of the things that fans wanted. Okay, but they're still continuing to give us some of that. Kevin Owens is there, Seth Rollins being the face and everything else. They're delivering some okay stuff. Chris Jericho, I think, is still money. I think the New Day is becoming a little bit stale. I think that the club is being booked wrong. They should just be badasses. But it's the one thing that wasn't really involved in that Raw show. You had Stephanie and Mick at the top, and you didn't see them again. You did not see them again. You do not need to see them every other segment. If they want to try to do something new with this era, let that part, go. Be bold, take the step. Let it go. No one's been able to do it since. WCW did it with Eric Bischoff. They couldn't let it go. Vince Russo was there, and then whatever else they did. TNA with Dixie Carter. They can't let this whole authority angle go in wrestling at all. And now, if you want to give us something different, Raw, something different from SmackDown, because even Shane and Daniel Bryan are involved too much in that, but yet they're still managing to put a good product despite it. You want to be different? Cut out the authority figure. Cut them out altogether unless it's a special event. Make it special when you do that. And that's the real run-in for this week.
Reaction.
Yeah, I would say generally I agree, which is no surprise. I do generally agree with Dean's opinions on the show, etc., which I guess is really not uncommon. You have, people who watch, the product a long time generally, have the exposure and see the same things through the different eras that are good or bad or that kind of a thing. So, yeah, I completely agree with that.
But I don't think they'll ever actually go away from that. I think the two ego-driven and too set in their ways, you know what I mean? And I don't know what's going to change that because it seems like every week it's the same old shit, It's authority introducing the women, or they're going to talk about Kevin and Seth, or they're going to come up with Rusev and Lana and talk with them, or they're not going to address like the big elephant in the room, which is worst trips, and like they'll mention him once in the back, or they won't even let like the most popular person on the show in Chris Jericho be in like the primetime slot. They had, and we're going to get into this, but I have a laundry list of problems with Raw,
absolutely,
how they booked it. But first, you have something for us, Brad. Big Mark says that you want to lend a new piece of the show tonight.
My obscure pro wrestling entrance theme.
Yeah.
And you can play along at home and see if you know what it is. And if not, of course, I'll tell you maybe. But John, if you know it, go ahead and speak up. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
No pressure.
All right, is that WWE or WCW?
It could be any of them.
I'm going to say
I'll give you a hint.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It is WWE.
Elijah Burke.
No, and this actually, quite honestly, had a big hint in it. It's 3-minute warning.
Oh, God. Okay.
During the Eric Bischoff GM era, where they would come out and attack people. Yep.
3-minute warning. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next week I'll have an obscure wrestling theme, and we'll continue this little gimmick going through. Wow. That sounded like an Elijah Burke theme to me. I was gonna think of like Shane Helms before he was the Hurricane. You know what? He was only the Hurricane in WWE, huh?
Well, he was he was Gregory Helms as cruiserweight champion after that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounded. I didn't 3-minute warning. Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. I never would have come up with that. Never. You outsmarted me again, Brad. You did it again. All right. Well, as Dean said, on to the disappointing shit. So, I wish I could give this as minimal effort as they did, but I have to put on a show and do well. For fuck's sake. But we do have some breaking news, Brad, if you want to get to that. So, spoiler alert for everyone who watches TNA, which is none of you, so I wouldn't be really spoiling anything, huh? Cody Rhodes debuted tonight, Thursday, and is broken with Matt Hardy.
Oh, brother.
If you want proof, you go to Matt Hardy's Twitter, and there it is. He took a picture with Cody Rhodes in the back and said, "Brother Garrett, I knew you'd come."
Oh, boy.
And Cody Rhodes even tweeted a reaction. He said, when I released WWE, I had no idea the opportunities and places I was bound for. So Cody Rhodes is going to Bound for Glory this Sunday.
And hopefully he's bound to get a paycheck.
That'll be in 2018, just so everyone's clear on that development. So anyway, Monday Night Raw, good for Cody Rhodes, honestly. Good for him. He deserves to be happy. And his wife is one of the most beautiful fucking humans on planet Earth. Good for them. Good for them. All right, so I love how Mark put this. The new era of Raw opens up with an Authority promo. Hit or miss. I can only take a guess as to what you think.
This was a fucking miss by a mile.
Tell the people why.
Well, it's only the same formula they've had for 15 years plus. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. Something should tell you based on everything like product interest dropping, attendance dropping, ratings dropping, blah blah blah. Then maybe the same formula you've been using forever. It's time to change it up because it's no longer working. They're using the Authority promo as a crutch. I feel like, and it's just not working, and it's boring, and it's just the same old shit. There's nothing new about it. So,
now, why did it work in 1998? When the Attitude Era was in its full force, and Vince McMahon was that true mega heel authority figure. You had the corporation, and it seemed to work very well. Was it because it was so fresh and so new, or was it simply because the talent was so good that it just simply couldn't fail? And plus, that time period, wrestling was at its peak, and it has never been anywhere close in a decade.
Yeah, everything sort of lined up. I think it matched with the time in society, so that was huge. It was very relevant to your average person. The way Stone Cold felt towards his boss, and the way he acted is the way people wanted to act towards their boss. So there was a societal element that really lined up there. You obviously had the right performers, and you had the real-life situation with Bret Hart, where Vince sort of became the Mr. McMahon character after. And so there was a lot of factors that lined up to make it work, but absolutely it was fresh. And, when you've done the same gimmick for so many years, it's time to look at how can we change things up. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't see that going away. Now we're going to talk about how SmackDown's working with an authority figure, but not really an authority figure, and that's really what my big problem is with Raw. So Cesaro and Sheamus, match number 6. I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. The match was the best match they've had so far. Still, I didn't fast forward it this time. It was so obvious where they were going with it. Clash of Champions is match 7. If you couldn't see that coming, you're naive as can be, dudes. I'm sorry. I liked what they did. I liked the pace of it. So I was satisfied. I think that's the best word I can actually use. I was satisfied.
I was bored. I fast forwarded through the match.
You did? Okay. Fair enough. Yep. I did the last 3 matches. All right, now fix this gimmick, because the best of 7 series on paper looked great. How would you have done it differently? And an answer cannot be not doing it at all.
Well, no, I just wouldn't have done it with Cesaro.
Okay. See, I think it's a neat concept because they never put the gimmick best of 7 series on a feud ever. Not for at least 10 or so years. So I thought the idea was cool. For me, yeah. I would have just done a 3 stages of hell match and called it quits. Give them a reason to hate each other, have a few screw finishes, have them brawl backstage a couple times, have them ambush them at home. Like, really take this feud to another level. Instead of just simple backstage promos and 6-minute matches on Raw. You know what I mean? I think they could have done it a lot better since they were going to do it no matter what.
No, absolutely. You bring up a great point. It's something they really haven't done in a long time. So I think that the concept was great. I mean, absolutely. I was all for a best of 7 as long as it had something to win, as long as they were trying to win something.
Well, they are, Brad. They're getting a fucking, what's its dick? A title shot.
Whatever, a championship opportunity, whatever that means. So I wanted stakes, right? But what I didn't want is Cesaro versus Sheamus. Nobody wanted to see that match, really. And really, nobody wanted to see that match 7 fucking times. So, I mean, that's the problem. Therein lies the problem. You've got a great concept, and they executed it poorly by using Sheamus and Cesaro for this. That's the problem. You know, nobody really wants to see this. They have the same boring, formulaic physical matches. It's pretty much the same thing. They both lack charisma. The whole thing is just not it's not exciting. So, for me, it's just not been good. And
no, I concur.
There should have been 2 other people.
You know what? Fucking call me insane. If they were ever going to do a best of 7 series, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, sign me up right now. Because those are the only 2 I could actually see in a best of 7 series and have it mean something. Whether if it's just like bragging rights or respect or even a title, I think they would have killed it.
Yeah, I think before Owens' title reign, I think a best of 7 would have been ideal between those 2. That's definitely something I could get behind.
Absolutely, but that's not going to happen. So now we have Jericho's list of things he hates about Foley. I fucking loved it, man. I was so happy. Was taking me back to WCW 18 years ago. Wow, so fucking good. I hope you liked it because wow, I liked it. The one problem, Jericho should have went on longer. I think he should have done more of the list instead of like 3 things and then they had a run in by the fucking shining shit fucks. But credit where it's due. Jericho killed that segment, nailed it.
Well, he's arguably the most entertaining thing on Monday Night Raw right now. Period.
I don't think it's arguable. I think it's intact completely.
Yeah, I thought it was a hit. You're right. I would have loved to see him get in more of his lines. That was great.
Go to commercial break, come back. He's listening more.
Yeah, he's still listening. He's still doing it during commercial. Absolutely. I think that would have been classic. But so good.
That's sad though, because why should you have a part-timer who's technically full-time and be the most entertaining part of your show? Shouldn't he be enhancing the talent so who he's working with is the most entertaining? And I love Sami Zayn to death. I really do. He's my second favorite behind Becky. I find a problem with, and it's not even his fault. He's going to put over Sami in a match at a pay-per-view. He's going to do it on Sunday. But Sami's not going to.
The problem is, he's so good that he's putting guys over in matches. The problem is he's so good. He's so much better than what they have today that it just is not comparable. It's, it's like when they bring back these part-time guys like The Rock and whatever, and you see them up against the talent they have today, and you're like, wow, this sucks. Yeah. I mean, guys like Austin and The Rock and even Hogan and going even further back. I mean, you bring these guys in, and then you see them compared to like nothing. They're like nothing. They don't even, they're not even in the same league as those guys. So that's a big problem they have. They've created it, don't get me wrong, but they now have a problem where they bring these guys back like Jericho, and he just is heads and shoulders above the other talent.
Yeah, and let's be real here. The 2 guys that I can say fully right now that are the most complete package are Bray Wyatt and The Miz. Am I wrong? Most complete package. From charisma to mic ability to in-ring work to working a crowd. I think Bray and The Miz are the best in this company by far. Cena, obviously.
Yeah, it's. I would have to think about it. I mean, I think the Miz, when you talk about total packages, it's the guy who can do it all he has to come to mind as a name.
Oh, easily. Uh, it's just one of those things. They don't have anybody aside from Cena who's going to leave in the next 3 years. Unfortunately, they don't have someone that has that star appeal. They don't have somebody that is like CM Punk was also the complete package. Yet when Cena and Punk were going at it, man, it was lights out, knockout, home run every time. But you can only have that so much, and they have not replaced anything to that caliber aside from Daniel Bryan in the last 5 or 6 years. And I don't think they can. I don't know what's going to happen. Mick Foley with a live microphone on live television, so Big Mark's onto something. It's because they gave Foley a script, and Bradley, as well as I do, when Mick has a script, he's fucking garbage because he has a bad memory. But when he's going off the cuff, Mick can still cut a fucking promo. It's just, why are they giving him a script? It's asinine.
It's because these fucking dweebs who write for these, newspapers.
You want to tell the people that? Tell you what you texted me the other day.
Oh, they hired a guy who's some obscure newspaper writer with no sort of real experience, and all he did was, write for a small newspaper. And then WWE hired him to be on the creative team.
They can go fuck themselves for all I care. Idiots.
I mean, hey, what makes you think that person is going to be successful? I don't get it. I don't even know what they're looking for, but it's so bizarre to me. And so they just write, and they're just writers, and they write, and they don't necessarily know enough about the business or the characters, and it's so bizarre. Yeah, Mick Foley has got one too many headshots, and he's not going to remember lines. He's constantly forgetting lines and fucking up, quite frankly, on live TV. When they do the backstage stuff with him, it's very good because they can always edit, etc. But, man, you give him a script to memorize live TV, it's just going to be a disaster. So
yeah. And I don't know which example they're going to take, 1/753rd, until they realize that, but never going to happen. They're too far up their own ass. So the booking of the Cruiserweight division, the debut of it when Mick came out and introduced them in the third hour. The third hour is 10:22. And the champion is not even there. Wow. Silence, huh?
This was terrible. Yeah. I mean,
match was decent.
And, what was amazing to me? Sure. But what was amazing to me was Mike Johnson from PW Insider. He thought that they presented the cruiserweights well.
Are you kidding me?
And my only thought was that it has to be some sort of a joke. Or are you on the payroll? Is that a joke? What? I don't understand it because there's no way anybody could logically look at that and say they were presented well. You have an entire division, and you essentially take just several guys, and you put them all in a match together. This is what they used to do to the divas to kill time when they had a bunch of divas to use back in those days. And, they didn't know what to do with them, so they just throw a bunch of them together, and they'd have a 4-way, a 5-way, a 6-way, whatever the hell kind of way. Yeah. And they'd have that match, and they'd get them out of the way, and they'd move back onto the big boys. And I feel like that's what they did here. I mean, you have promoted this division as a big deal for Raw for weeks and weeks. And then you finally debut them about midway through the third hour when generally about 500,000 people of your current audience have tuned out already. So here's people, a new audience, seeing them for the first time. And 500,000 people have already tuned out before they're even coming on.
So what's the point?
I mean, what's the point? Is right. And then your champion who wins the tournament, who's going to be in a actual title defense coming up this weekend as we record this, he's not even on Raw. He's not even on Raw. There's no story. He's not on Raw. I just don't fucking get it. It's just the same old stupid shit. And it doesn't instill any confidence in me that they're going to handle the division properly. I would have started out Raw with a cruiserweight division match, period.
with the champion on it.
Yeah. Think? Wow. It's like who can't logically see that would be a good idea?
Well, with Vince out after he pulled his quad or tore it rather, it's Vince and it's Stephanie and Triple H calling the shots right now. Triple H is in the Vince position in Gorilla. So he's the guy making like the on-the-spot calls. I mean, Vince is like looking over the script and he's doing his whole thing. But like when it comes down to it, Trips is making the decisions right now, and they're not good ones. They're not. So yeah, I don't know.
Roman Reigns defeats Kevin Owens in a steel cage in the main event. What did you think about this, John?
It was a dumpster fire because first of all, Roman Reigns where was Rusev in all this? His wedding is over. So is his honeymoon. Rusev's not there. Roman Reigns beats the Universal Champion in the go home for Clash of Champions in a cage match when they're not even fighting. What's the point? Like that made me not want to watch Raw for like 2 months because it was so fucking mindless and stupid. I have no other words.
This was so dumb. This was such a huge miss, and this was just so fucking dumb. There's a few problems with this, obviously, and you have Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens not in a feud. They are not wrestling on the pay-per-view. Yep. Yet here they are in the go-home show wrestling each other, and for the second week in a row wrestling each other. Okay, they've put them in a steel cage just because steel cage, right? There's no actual reason. It's not like, hey, these two are in a feud and they don't like each other and they've had some fights, and so now it's building to a climax that's going to be inside a steel cage where everything kind of blows off. Yeah. Nope, it's not that. It's just a steel cage to have a steel cage. Okay. So they're not in a feud. It's a go-home show of Raw where they wrestle different people. They're in a steel cage for no reason. And then you have the number one contender to the U.S. title pin the world champion clean.
Well, he didn't pin him. He went over the steel cage.
Win the steel cage. Beat him clean. And what did that accomplish except to make Roman look strong going into his match? Because, by the way, they sit there and they tell you he was punished. He lost a couple matches. Roman's not in the title picture anymore. No, he's just main evented every fucking Raw for the past month, basically.
Yeah, and he beat your champion.
I mean, totally terrible booking. I think a child could have booked a better show than this. This entire show was a dumpster fire. It sucked.
Jericho might have been the only good thing on the show.
He was. He was the only good thing on the show as far as my opinion goes. It was terrible. And, you know, the kicker here, John, is we have Raw coming up after the pay-per-view. And it's going to be on a night of football and a night of the presidential debate.
They're going to get fucked by the big
Their rating is, the big political dick.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, so what I expect is not that they'll try and step up their game to make it exciting, but that they'll just kind of throw in the towel and let it be another throwaway Raw.
And I'm looking right now to see what Week 4's Monday Night Football game is, and because that could play a big part in it too. Let's take a look. See everyone, the Giants and the Vikings, who are both undefeated right now. So there we are.
Wow. They're in trouble. They'll be under 3 million again for sure.
I bet you they'll be under 2.5. Is that really like going off a limb here? They'll be under 2.5 million. I see it as a possibility.
It's possible. I think this could be the time that Smackdown beats them. I guess we'll see.
We will. So yeah, on to Smackdown. Honestly, I texted you last night. I only had one problem with it, and we'll get to it. But from top to bottom, it was a fucking hell of a show. Beginning with Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch and their contract signing, my favorite segment of the night, for obvious reasons. Becky and Alexa were great on the mic. They killed it. I liked where Daniel Bryan what his role was. He was there to listen, and he was there to mediate. Bliss showed aggressiveness. Becky had the babyface sympathy from the crowd, finally becoming a champ. And Big Mark needs to fuck himself. It's Becky Lynch, not Becky Lunch.
I think Big Mark was hungry when he typed this.
Well, he must have been. But either way, I think the segment was a hit. I thought it was great. Those two women are becoming stars, while Raw is just like deflating everybody's star power as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, Alexa is already very good on the mic.
Yes, absolutely.
She's already a standout in the women's division for that alone. So she's definitely has star potential for the women's division, and I think they'll probably have a good match. I thought they handled things well, and hopefully this will help Alexa get over as a dislikable heel.
Yeah,
Becky needs some wins. They're going to build her up. She'll win. I totally expect her to win and be strong for a while. But
absolutely, and I mean, there's going to come to a point where you're going to need more heels. Carmella's doing a great job, I think, taking out Nikki Bella. There's a rumor right now that they might have a no disqualification match between Carmella and Nikki, which props. Carmella, who everyone was shitting on in the first 2 weeks, turns heel, and she's fucking on a skyrocket, man. She's doing great. She doesn't talk. Yeah, she doesn't
so
talk
much better as a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki's doing a good job of helping put her over, which is really what this is all about. Put her over as a heel. And she'll end up, I think, getting a shot at Becky Lynch as well.
Stop it. Becky is a beautiful angel.
Sorry.
Yes.
Botchy Lynch.
She hasn't botched in months. Get the hell out. And you want to call her a Botchy Lynch? Charlotte almost killed Sasha twice. For fuck's sake. Becky would never drop Sasha on her neck. All right. We did miss something on Raw. I have to go back to it. I have to. And that is the Braun Strowman fought Sin Cara again.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. It makes me want to throw something.
How bad was that match? The entire segment was so bad. Braun Strowman is so goddamn bad. I mean, I can't even describe it. He is so bad. He needs to be doing anything but wrestling.
Yeah, he does. I'm sorry. I had to get that in. I had to talk about beef stroganoff, Braun Strowman. All right, I'm sorry. So the Usos and American Alpha. You know what? I hate the Usos because they make me hate them. And not X-Pac heat, man. It's real heat because I love American Alpha and motherfuckers. Like, I see what they're doing. They're trying to be like Dash and Dawson from NXT, almost the exact same strategy, which is kind of funny because Ryan Ward, who's writing SmackDown, booked Dash and Wilder in the first place, Dash and Dawson, and now he's doing the exact same fucking thing with the Usos, and it's actually working. So,
they've been refreshed big time. I mean, they're a natural fit in this heel role, and they're worlds better than they were. This will be really good for American Alpha too. I mean, it really will be. This will really help get them over as baby faces because I'm sure you've noticed they are not really getting a lot of cheers ever since that initial debut. Of course, the real smarky NXT crowd is going to know them, but the mainstream crowd is not. So, this would be good. The Usos are natural heels, and hopefully, they're going to continue to build up a lot of sympathy, which that appears to be what they're doing. And so then American Alpha will get the upper hand eventually, but I'm really enjoying this feud.
No, I am too. And like I said, they're making me hate them, and they're doing their job well. Baron, go ahead. This is your time. Your time to shine, man.
Baron Corbin destroys
old news cruise. It is on track to feud with Jack Swagger. Swagger, who's got a hot wife. Woo!
But no, seriously, Baron looked good again. He really did. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
Man, he gave Apollo quite the beating. He looked great. I really liked it. This was another example of what I talk about with his strikes and how good they are. This really stood out to me in the segment, and giving him something to do with Swagger's fine. I just hope, obviously, he goes over Swagger. But man, has he just totally squashed Apollo Crews repeatedly.
And that's not going to change, man. It's not going to change. I think they're going to ride the Corbin train, dude. I really think so. Moving on, The Miz beat Dolph Ziggler. Hey, The Miz is now the dirtiest heel in the game. And he's killing it. He's killing it. I have nothing bad to say. Nothing. Only good things for The Miz.
I love this. I loved the way The Miz won.
Yep.
I love the way he is an old school heel and actually is a heel, works like a heel should. I like the story they're telling with Dolph Ziggler, which is a story of self-doubt, and I think it's leading to a heel turn. But man, The Miz is just in the zone. One of the most entertaining characters in the entire WWE right now. Man, he's just so good. The hairspray tactic, right in the face. I mean, that's great. A heel champion who's cocky and obnoxious, yet will back down in situations, will cheat to win, has no shame. I mean, this guy is just, man, he could have, this reminds me in some ways of the Honky Tonk run. And so I don't know if they're going to try and beat that with Miz, but man, he's just in the zone right now.
You mean the Honky Tonky Man? Oh, wait. Oh, I just had a fun little idea. Yeah, but like, I love what the Miz is doing. It's just bringing sexy back, if you will, for heels. Listen up, guys.
Insulted my girlfriend, and you insulted me. But I'm going to prove you wrong about the Glamarella, because I'm going to prove to be the greatest intercontinental champion of all times. Put on the honka meter. You see, the honky donkey man was intercontinental champion for a record 64 weeks. Santino Marella has already been intercontinental champion for 2 weeks.
No, this has been the best intercontinental title reign since Santino Marella. Easily.
He's killing it right now with that title. I mean, I love it. I don't want to see them take the title off of him anytime soon.
Me neither. Last but not least, this was the only problem I had on the show. I'll let you go first on this. I really want to hear your thoughts because I did have one big problem with it.
Dean motherfucking Ambrose defeats John Cena clean. 1, 2, 3. Gets the pinfall victory in the main event of SmackDown Live. This was a huge win for Dean Ambrose. I liked the match. I know Dave Meltzer was very critical of this, and I don't know what Dave has up his ass, but he's not an overly big fan of SmackDown. He's not a big fan of Baron Corbin at all. He hates him. He's not a fan of Dean Ambrose as the top guy. He's not a fan of a lot of things, so fuck off. He wasn't a fan of this match. He actually said that John Cena may have been mad that he was forced to lose this match to Dean.
Really?
Okay. All right. Who knows? But you know what? I thought it was the right thing. They've got to make some other guys. They've got to make it. Look, if you have 2 guys that are on John Cena's level, that's really good. So if you have an AJ and a Dean, that's really good, especially when John is not going to be there every week. So,
nope.
Or on house shows. So I liked it. I liked that he won, and I think that the triple threat with AJ is going to be really good.
It will.
And frankly, I think it's going to be better than the main event of Raw's upcoming pay-per-view.
Easily. Now, fun fact, this was the first time in 7 years John Cena was pinned clean on Raw or SmackDown. Did you know that?
I knew it had been a long time.
7 years.
Which is well, yeah, but that's also part of what made it so special. And you could see the crowd was legitimately shocked.
But here's where I have a problem with it, and it wasn't the result, it was how it happened. Cena and Ambrose, and they wrestled, what, like the 13-minute match, give or take, right? Yeah. They kicked out of each other's finishes once. I hated that. I hated it so much. I hate that. I just hate it.
I hated it too.
And like I said, the match was fine, but if you're gonna do that, don't kick out of each person's finisher, especially one after the other. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That would be my only critique of the segment. I hate, as you know, the finisher kickouts. Yeah. That's something that should be reserved for a big match like a WrestleMania. Yep. Instead, it's all part of this indie wrestling scene where, you know, you do a bunch of flippity-doos and finishing moves and everybody kicks out. And, you know, super kick is just like a punch. And it's just, you know, I hate that entire style of wrestling.
Well,
and so that one piece, that is what it reminded me of. I hated that, especially because you look at the two things here. Okay, so John Cena's his finisher has essentially been killed.
Fair enough.
His actual finisher, his FU or attitude adjustment, has actually been killed. I mean, who is going to be beat with just one of those now? And if you are beat with just one of those, you're probably going to look pretty bad because everybody else is kicking out of them. But Dean's finish has been really protected overall. I mean, people aren't kicking out of that except John Cena. So I thought, you know, his finish was really protected. I would have rather him win with that. But you know what? Yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. My critique of the match would have been exactly as you said.
And that was the only thing I didn't like about it. Other than that, the match was fine. Dean going over was big. You know, John's not winning, so that'll keep his title number at 15. Which, if you're gonna have him beat it, make sure he beats it in a timely manner.
Got Dean and AJ on Smackdown next week.
That's right.
For the title.
That's right. I cannot wait for that.
No, I know. No, SmackDown's going to be better than Raw again.
And that's like 4 or 5 weeks in a row, which begs the question. So we talked about Raw and SmackDown. Who is the better show? At this point, if you try and defend Raw, you are a fucking Excuse me. Wow, I get indigestion thinking about it. You're a fucking idiot, okay? It is not even close. There's a modicum of information that you can possibly present to me that would say that Raw is better. Absolutely not.
Oh, it's not even a question. I've seen some of these scattered fans on Twitter, these Kevin Owens marks or whatever, that mark out and, you know, piss their drawers because he's champion. But, you know, it's like the ones, oh yeah, Raw was so great because Kevin Owens won the championship that week. Actually, the entire show sucked. Maybe that one match didn't.
Yeah.
But one match result don't make a show great when the other 2.5 hours suck. So it's not even a question. You know, it's logically, when you look at the facts, I mean, this isn't even debatable at this point. SmackDown is better every week than Raw.
Yep. Precisely. It's not even close. So so let's get to some news before we sign off. I don't want to preview Clash of Champions because I don't give a solid fuck. If you want to preview it, Brad, give me your predictions. I will not offer mine because I honestly don't care. I don't care.
They did a terrible job of building for this pay-per-view. This is going to be just like another Raw show to me. I don't care either. So I think Owens walks out the champion somehow, but I really don't care. Whatever. I mean, yeah.
I couldn't have put it better. Actually, I'm going to tweet what you just said right now because I like it so much. It's fucking awful. Okay, you have 2 matches. You have the tag team match for the belts, and you have Sammy and Chris. You didn't fucking build any of it on the go home. You didn't go home to shit. All they did was have a 5-on-5 tag team match that doesn't fucking matter. Like they tried to push 3 feuds for Sunday in one 8-minute segment. laziness, and you have 3 hours. Use all of it. Like, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'm a Smackdown guy. I think it's fair to say that now.
Yeah, I just tweeted, Clash of Champions feels like another episode of Raw to me, so I probably won't even watch. Isn't that sad?
Well,
Right.
They don't care. So.
Yeah, you're right. So you talked about watering down with the flippity doos and shit, and the finisher kicker outers. News has it that the cruiserweight division will be watered down severely, so there will be less high action flips and moves. To which a lot of the fans that were looking at that are very disappointed.
Yeah, and actually, one of the Cruiserweight Classic tournament participants, I can't remember who it is offhand, but he did an interview and he admitted that they were heavily, the agents were heavily micromanaging their match in the spots, and that he wanted to do a delayed suplex off the second rope, and they told him no.
Really?
Yeah, so this thing from the get-go, even in the tournament, has been micromanaged as far as the moves, and it sounds like it'll probably be even worse on Raw. So,
yay!
And they're going to be on in the third hour when no one's watching, and they're going to put them all in a match at once, and the champion's not going to be on the goddamn show. So this is going to be great.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Good job, guys. Brandy Rhodes, Cody's wife, signed with TNA. Awesome. She'll be at Bound for Glory with Cody on October 2nd. Also great. Good for them. They're a good family, good people. I'm glad they're having success.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. She's whatever.
Yeah, okay, good enough. Hulk Hogan might be returning to the WWE with a podcast or show on the network.
Yeah, so I got a scoop on that and was able to verify, and I posted something on Twitter about it, but the WWE has asked a designer to come up with a Hogan logo for the network.
Oh, boy.
So it looks like there may be something coming on the network involving Hulk. Now, I know he's been shopping a podcast around.
Yes.
To the different podcast networks. You got Podcast One and different media outlets. But his asking price was $1 million a year for a podcast. Yeah. Obviously, no one bid on that, brother. So
Nope.
Looks like he may have suckered Vince into paying him some money on the network. So we'll see.
Good for him.
I'll watch it. I think it'll be. Yeah, exactly. He's the ultimate businessman, and he should be, because that's his job. It's their job. It's not just a passion. It's their job. So they should be trying to make money like everybody else who's a fan in their job.
Sure. Makes sense to me, right? This one's interesting, Brad. I'll let you take the reins on this one.
Yeah. So Bruce Pritchard, former WWE writer, producer, he was Vince McMahon's right-hand man during the Hulk Hogan era. I'd have known him as Brother Love. I love you. With the red face. He buried wrestling writers. It buried them. I think he called Bruce Mitchell from the PW Torch a jackoff.
Wow.
And he alleges that Dave Meltzer used to work for WWF, giving them information on other promotions and writing things about WWE in a favorable manner in his Wrestling Observer newsletter.
You're surprised?
Very interesting. So Bruce basically went on to say, too, that the writers, like the Meltzers and Mike Johnsons, etc., are the biggest marks of them all, because they're being worked by all the boys giving them information.
Are you surprised?
Very interesting. Not surprised. Very interesting perspective. Very controversial. Very interesting podcast with Bruce Pritchard on MLW.
I gotta start listening to that more often. It seems like a lot of good shit comes out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But wow. Yeah, and we get shit for being marks, but all we want is a good product. All they're focusing on is a good fucking work rate and a bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter. So really, who's the mark? Let's be real, okay? Seriously. It's actually kind of a fucking joke. Last but not least, Buff Bagwell turned gigolo. Buried Samoa Joe on the Pancakes and Power Slams podcast. Fucking hell of a name, Buff. Let's give it credit there. He said Samoa Joe is a fat, out-of-shape guy who looks like he should not be in a wrestling ring. Wow. Wow. Catfight.
Yeah, he went on to bury CM Punk as well. Basically looking like he didn't belong.
Well, you know what? I love that quote, so I'm gonna try to find that. Here we go.
Yeah, Buff is the stuff, apparently, and he might be on some stuff because Samoa Joe may be fat, but you know what? He certainly belongs in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, he does. So here's what Bagwell said about CM Punk, and I quote, "Here's how I look at it. If I was a promoter like Vince or Ted Turner, if I was trying to make money in the wrestling industry, I would judge it by having a person walk through Walmart," he said. "If CM Punk walked through Walmart, even as popular as he is, he's not going to get noticed as much as Hulk Hogan walking through Walmart. The reason why I say Walmart is that's our fan base," unquote.
Oh, boy.
Is he wrong? I don't know.
He's not wrong in that there's an airport appeal. He calls it Walmart, but the airport appeal where you go into the airport and you see a guy and you're like, I don't necessarily even know who he is, but he's got to be something, right? Yeah. He's got a star appeal. He's big. He's muscular. He got a certain look. He stands out, a charisma, whatever you want to call it. He's got the airport appeal. That's really what he's referring to. And yes, he's absolutely right. But Samoa Joe is not going to be a top guy. You know, you would expect Hulk Hogan to have airport appeal. He was your top guy.
What about CM Punk?
CM Punk isn't the biggest guy. I mean, he was listed at 6'1" in UFC. And he was over 200 pounds legit in WWE. I mean, so he's, bigger than the average guy, but he's not huge by any means.
But he's talking about popularity.
But he was a popular character, and CM Punk was absolutely hounded all the time and harassed and stalked by fans. So I think he probably did have some airport appeal.
Yeah,
because of his unique look and his character. Because it's not just about a guy who's 6'5", 240.
No,
he probably shouldn't be a small guy. He's probably not going to be a small guy, but a guy who's that size, 6'1", 210, whatever, who's got a character, who's got a very unique look. He's going to have some airport appeal. John Cena is going to have some airport appeal.
For sure.
And as we know, wrestling has changed. And we used to have a lot of bigger guys. Now we have a lot of smaller guys who are, more athletic, more endurance. There's a more focus on in-ring work as opposed to, the big guys. And that's just the reality. And so there are less stars today, no doubt, with airport appeal than there has been in the past. You can't deny that.
Oh, there's no chance. No chance. But either way, it's just that time for the WWE right now, and I hope it changes for the better. I honestly do. I'm a fan through and through. I'm passionate. I love it to death. I just hope it changes. But either way, Brad, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at the VOTV Podcast on the Twitter, at the VOTV Podcast, running our Twitter account, getting into arguments with morons, and posting my uncensored opinion on the daily.
Good.
Follow me, and you will enjoy it.
And I always do. And you can find me at Johnfish Gaming on Twitter. I changed my Twitter account more than John Cena changes his shirts. So it's always exciting time. It's John Fish Gaming over there. Facebook at Wrestling News Hub, Johnfish3 at Twitch.tv. Any last words before we ride off into the sunset? Clash of Champions is on Sunday, and I don't care.
Dick's out for Harambe.
Always and forever. We'll see you next week.